It is my wedding day, so let's do my makeup together on camera. So I've already done my skincare and I'm starting with my brows. I'm just going to brush through them to make sure my hairs are in place to begin with. Then I'm going in with the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. This is my favourite brow gel. I'm going in like 2 or 3 times, letting it dry in between each coat. Then going in with my NYX brow pen in Ash Brown. I'm just using this very, very lightly just to create hair-like effects, focusing on the start of my brow and then adding a little bit as well onto the end near the tail of my brow. And this is a really good pen if you want a much more natural look because it creates hair-like effects, so it does not look heavy or bold or just like caterpillar brows at all. Then once my brows are done, I'm going to go in with my eyeshadow base, and to do this I'm using my P. Louise cosmetic base in the shade Rumour 02. I always use this base. I'm carving out the brows of it as well. It's really, really good for holding any eyeshadow or products on your eyes. So I'm really cleaning up the brows. I'm going on top around the arch, and then obviously whatever I do on one side of my face I'm doing on the other side. So then I'm just adding a little bit to carve out my other brow, blending it in, making sure I go all the way into the inner corner of the eye as well as on the outer corner of the eye. Once the eyeshadow primer is all on, I'm then going to go in with a clear sort of colour, a colour that's similar I guess to my eyeshadow primer. I'm popping that all over the lid to prevent any creasing and to help my eyeshadow blend out a bit easier. Once that powder's all down, I'm then going in with my eyeshadow palettes. So to begin with, obviously I need a quick drink of champagne, and then I'm going in with 2 palettes. So I use my Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and then obviously as you can see my Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette. For transition shades I did go in with the Anastasia palette because they're slightly warmer and I wanted that warmer transition. Then for the darker shades I did use my Icy Nude palette as I didn't want them to be too warm and too sort of deep warm brown. I like them a little bit sort of like mid-tone cooler. So these colours I'm using at the minute are all from the Soft Glam palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm literally starting off with a smaller brush, applying the product where I want it, and then afterwards I'm going in with a thicker brush like so and blending them all out through the crease and slightly above the crease as well. Then going in with another fat glug of champagne. Of course I needed to finish this down. Then I'm going back in with my eyes. I'm just blending out again, and this is just a lot of blending at this point. I was using the transition shades, I can't say that word, to try and blend it out a little bit more, and then obviously going back in with the deeper colours. And sorry, there's so much drama going on behind me. My mum spilled champagne everywhere, but it's fine because she gave me a fat cup of champagne, so that's all okay. Going back in again with my eyeshadows, I'm deepening this again a bit more with my Icy Nude palette, and now I'm going to brighten up the inner corner with that P. Louise base. Going in with another P. Louise base. This is a glittery one. Unfortunately they don't make this one anymore, do not know why. It's one of my favourite products of all time. I'm taking the gold and a slight bit of silver, mixing them together and then popping that on my eyes. I'm then also going in with a Natasha Denona little single, which I will show my friend because she used the exact same one, and then I'm blending these together. So just taking a transition shade and then blending in. Now I'm doing eyeliner. I'm using my NYX Epic Ink Liner. I love this eyeliner pen, so I'm just taking that all along my eye. And then this was when disaster struck, because every time my sister walked the entire floor wobbled, so I had to tell her off. I'm so sorry, Chloe, but she completely understood. When my eyeliner was done I was happy again. Yay! So now what I'm doing is just clearing up under the eyeliner with my P. Louise base, and I'm doing a colour match. I'm doing this because I used 2 foundation shades. I used the YSL All Hours foundation, but obviously I'd fake tanned, so I needed to get the colour right. So I had a little bit of a lighter one and a darker one, and I mixed them together until they were the right shade. Going in with a little bit of my Chanel bronzer, which I'm so excited to use. It's a really, really nice, pretty natural bronzer. So I love this, and I'm just popping this on my cheekbones and then slightly on the side of my forehead as well. I also like to feel really, really sculpted down the nose, so what I'm doing is just taking a little bit of that bronzer on a smaller brush and then literally just blending that down the sides of my nose. Blending that all out with a clean flat brush, and then I'm going in with my Laura Mercier concealer. I'm applying a generous amount of this because I felt like I had quite dark circles, so I'm just popping this all underneath the eye, letting it sit for about a minute or so, and then I'm blending in again with a little flat brush. And with this I didn't want to drag really much at all. I was more in a patting motion because I didn't want to move the coverage away, so always pat if you want a good amount of coverage. And then I did actually end up putting a little bit of this concealer just on the top of my forehead because I felt like I was really, really bright underneath the eyes, and I was sort of obviously fake tanned, so I wanted to have a little bit of a brighter spot there as well. So just blending this out on the top of my forehead, and then we're going in with blush. So for blush I used the Morphe Après Ski is the shade, and it's the pinky sort of blush. I'm using a cream at the moment, and I'm just popping that basically all over the cheekbones, on my nose. The photographer's here now in the background, everything is going on. And then I'm going to go in afterwards with the powder and just blend in the powder on the top. I feel like if I do a cream and then a powder, it lasts a lot longer, so I prefer doing this. And for the powder shade, I actually used a bit of a bigger brush just so it diffused and looked a little bit lighter. Now I didn't get much footage of me powdering, but I'm powdering with a powder puff, and I used the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder, so I'm popping that literally everywhere because I get oily skin. And then once the powder is done, I'm finishing off on the eyes. I didn't want to add too much, so I'm just adding a teeny little bit of the darker colour on the very outer corner. I popped a bit of mascara on, and now we're going in with the highlight. So again, this highlighter is the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter. I'm popping this all on the top of the cheekbones. I'm popping it underneath the brow. It's also going on the inner corner of my eye and slightly underneath my eye as well on the inner corner, so that just helped to, like, I guess, brighten up the eye a little bit more. So then onto lips. I started off by using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Fair lip liner with the Tom Ford liquid lipstick on the top, and this was the shade I ended up with. I wanted to brighten the eye a little bit more, so I went in with a nude liner there. Onto lips again, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Fair lipstick, and then this was how this was looking, so it just added that nice pinky glow. Going in with my Urban Decay All Nighter. Then I went in with the NYX lip liner because it's slightly deeper and I just wanted a bit of a deeper outline, something a bit more pink as well. Again, back in with the All Nighter setting spray, and this is the original formula. I'm not using the rubbish new one. And then there's my gorgeous little baby boy. I'm going in with my Crayon setting spray afterwards. And I had such an audience at this point, it was so funny. But this is my finished look, so I was very happy. It lasted all day, really loved it, and yeah, I love my makeup, so I hope you enjoyed.